Now, this is very frustrating. I'm really disturbed by this because for me, this should be a big news story. Something very similar to Jesse Smollett, or not quite as big, but almost as big. And the reason is that you have Jim Jefferies. Now, he's quite a famous comedian. He also has his own TV show on Comedy Central. And what he did was he used old footage with an interview with an Australian social commentator called Avi Yemini. And he manipulated that interview to make Avi Yemini look bad surrounding the Christchurch massacre. But Jim Jefferies also does something very terrible. He mocks the Muslim religion. He says that women who wear burqas look ridiculous. He says that if a dingo ate a Muslim child, they would spit it back out. And he also had a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. These are really hugely offensive things to do to any religion. And I covered this because Disney are planning to make a movie based on a Muslim comic book character. And now, for me, it really depends on why they're trying to do it. If it's to promote a certain religion or a certain group of people, that's fine. But if they're just doing it to make money, that's very dangerous because it can easily backfire. And they can cause, huge outrage. But this element with Jim Jefferies hasn't been covered by the mainstream media. And the reason I believe they haven't done it is because those news outlets like the New York Times, the BBC, they do it themselves. They use old footage and manipulate it to make it look bad because it's a great way to create content to show to people. And actually, BBC were found to do this. They did this with Tommy Robinson in Britain. So BBC have a TV show called Panorama, and they were working with a political group, and they did a hit job on Tommy Robinson. But Tommy Robinson had secret footage, very similar to what Avi Yemini did. So they exposed how Panorama were making up stories, and they were trying to make up a story that Tommy Robinson had tried to sexually assault his female member of staff, which is completely false. And the female member of staff came forward to Tommy Robinson and told Tommy Robinson the BBC tried to get her to lie about something as serious as sexual assault. So even the BBC can do this, and BBC is one of the most regulated news outlets in the world because they're tax funded. So it shows what these news outlets are really capable of. They are capable of taking a story like sexual assault, making a false story, and sitting down with a female member of staff to create a false story to make somebody look bad. So that shows what the media is really capable of. The media will do very, very dirty things if they believe it's the right thing to do. And that's what Jim Jefferies has done. He used this old footage and tried to reuse it or recycle that old footage to highlight or to discuss the Christchurch massacre in which 49 people were murdered. So you have a murder taking place where 49 people are killed, and Jim Jefferies just recycles this old interview that was held 2 or 3 months ago to try and make Avi Yemini look bad. It's just horrendous and it's a disgusting thing to do. And then on top of that, Jim Jefferies then goes and offends Muslim people by drawing a picture of their religious leader and making jokes about Muslim children being eaten by dingoes. It's just horrendous. It's so appalling, it's almost hard to believe. But the media haven't covered this. If you go on Google and Google Jim Jefferies or Avi Yemini in the last few days, the past week, all you'll see is a few blogs and some right-wing news outlets like Breitbart, which you'd expect them to cover it, and also The Rebel, which is very similar to Breitbart. But the whole household names like New York Post, the BBC, Sky News, they're not covering this story because they'll do it. They'll take old footage or interviews and re-edit it to suit their storyline and their narrative. So the BBC or the Sky News or New York Post or the New York Times aren't going to accuse Jim Jefferies of editing old footage because Jim Jefferies can turn around and say, well, you do the same thing as well. And they'll then end up showing the spotlight back on what they're doing. And they'll be very hypocritical. So they know not to do that. But what Jim Jefferies has done is just shocking and very disturbing. And you might say it's like a C-list celebrity, but if you had a Z-list celebrity and they put offensive messages on Twitter about Muslim people, then all the news outlets would cover it. They would jump on it straight away. But because Jim Jefferies is also a journalist, or claims that he's a journalist, and manipulates old footage, they're not going to discuss it because it's like hypocritical. The New York don't want to accuse somebody of doing something bad when they're doing it themselves. They're clever enough not to do that. So for me, it's really frustrating that this isn't being covered, even though it's something very serious, because it shows just how bad the media can behave if they need to. And the media didn't cover the BBC situation with Tommy Robinson. They didn't use the footage that showed that the BBC were trying to create a story around sexual assault so they could do a hit job or a takedown on Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson has secret footage of his female member of staff sitting down with the BBC presenter, and the BBC presenter says to her that they can create a story that shows that Tommy Robinson tried to sexually assault her. It's just horrendous. But the media won't cover it because they don't want to show themselves as being hypocritical, because they do it. They all do it. So it's very frustrating, very, very sad to see that we're not being told the truth, because all these media outlets are so bad. It's really frustrating. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And once again, it is a real side note, but I just want to point out that if Disney are going to make their comic book movie character on a religion, regardless of whatever religion it is, they really need to understand that religion. It is a Muslim character, but I want to focus on all religions. You know, if they made a Catholic comic book character movie and they don't understand the Catholic religion, it could be very easy for them to accidentally insult all Catholic people. And I believe that there's more Catholic people than any other religion in the world. It's a hugely popular religion. Okay, so you've got to be very careful of what's happening. And if Disney are doing it to make money, then that's a real horrendous approach to take to try and make money out of religion. Religion isn't something that a business should make money out of, in my view. If they're going to make a comic book character, they can just make, a Middle East comic book character and make a movie of it. Why bring in their religion? They're not doing that with Shang-Chi. They're not bringing in, or they don't appear to be bringing in Shang-Chi's religion. I don't think it's even discussed. So they need to be very careful about what they're doing and why they're doing it. If they're doing it to make money, it could easily backfire, just like it has done with Jim Jefferies. So for me, it's just really frustrating also that the news outlets just aren't covering this story.